In this video, I'm going to share the path and the steps that I would take if I were to become a web developer in 2024, or if I was a developer and I wanted to get better at it, learning the cutting edge technologies. I'm going to introduce courses, videos, and books throughout this video. These are the resources that I have used in my own journey, and hopefully it will help you in your own journey. So let's get started with this. I'm going to share the link to this video notes down in the description so you have it as a reference. Now, if you're just getting started, you might be thinking about starting to become a front-end developer versus a back-end developer, or what is a full-stack developer and all this. I just want to mention that regardless of which one you want to become, I think you need to start from front-end development. Then work your way all the way to the back-end so you become somewhat a full-stack developer, and it's only then that you would know which part of it you enjoy more. Without actually having done all of it, you won't know which part you would enjoy more. You might think that you enjoy front-end development, and then you do it and you're like, I hate this. You might enjoy backend, or you might think that you enjoy backend development and you start doing it and you're like, oh, this is not fun. I want to actually create UIs or web pages that people actually interact with rather than just building servers and authentications and APIs. But I also want to mention that more and more in modern web development, these areas are merging into each other. Now, a front-end developer, for example, a React or NextJs developer, is going to also write API endpoints because they're merged inside of the frameworks that you're going to use. They're going to write functions that are going to be deployed as serverless functions or edge functions as middlewares. So these areas are merging together. There's no distinction between front-end versus back-end as it was before. There is a nice blog post by Lee Robb from the Vercel team actually talking about product versus platform engineers in the modern web development kind of domain as opposed to front-end versus back-end. So you can have a further reading to understand that. But nevertheless, I think you need to start from the basics of how the web works in the browser, which is the front end, and work your way back and then see which part of it you want to actually dive deeper into. Now, in this first section, I have included some general resources if you want to learn about web development. These are not specific to any tech stack or language, so you can have a look through these. Now, MDN is going to be your biggest resource in learning web development, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So definitely check this out. They actually have a Learn Web Development roadmap or path or guide that you can just take. It takes you through HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which we're going to talk about in a second. But if you're somebody who can actually enjoy reading text, this is going to be a fantastic resource. But if you enjoy learning through videos or watching and building at the same time, I do have also other resources that you can benefit from. So let me close this off. The next one is Scrimba. Scrimba is an interactive learning platform where you can watch a video and at the same time write code in the interactive platform that they have. They do have a front-end developer career path where they take you through everything that you need to know to become a front-end developer that works with React. You can check that out as well. Now, Front-End Masters, again, it's a learning platform with different courses about databases, React, and whatnot. So again, the link is here. Coursera, Udacity, these are all other learning platforms that I have either taken a course on or continued or completed a learning path on. Udacity is another platform. Udemy, you might be probably familiar with. In terms of the pricing, they're different. Some of them are pricier or more expensive. Something like Udemy is more affordable. Egghead or egghead.io is also another resource. I thought to just include all of these here as a reference, generally speaking, about web development courses. Now, one thing I want to mention before getting into the tech stack is something that I personally found useful. And that is learning to code or becoming better at it is like learning anything else in your life. Learning to play piano or learning to play the guitar. It just needs practice over some period of time until you learn it and become better at it. So you need to build a habit if you want to learn to code, or if you want to learn a new technology or become better at it. Now, even for me, I'm learning new things every day, and I have to dedicate a time every day to learning new technologies, new databases, new frameworks every day. And if I don't dedicate that time or build this habit of learning every day, well, you just stop learning. Now, my experience has been that the hardest part or the most challenging part of building a new habit or adding or learning something new is just the starting point or getting started. So I suggest you start small. You can start by 15 to 30 minutes every day, and I do have this scheduled for myself. So every day, the first thing in the morning that I do is the first hour of learning, whatever technology that I'm focusing on at that point. Right now, I'm learning more about AI. So the first hour is just learning. You can do this as well. Now, what you can do if you don't have time to dedicate 30 minutes a day, I think you do, but if you don't, try waking up 30 minutes earlier and dedicate that time to learning. Now, learning and practicing in coding, start with something small that you can do. Even 15 minutes will do the job. And over time, when you're building on these little small steps and you're achieving and you're making some success, you're going to naturally grow to 30 minutes or maybe even longer. And then if you stack these little steps over time in 6 months or in 12 months, then you have definitely learned some skills or maybe even became a web developer. Now, in terms of resources that can help you in this domain, I've also included 3 books here. Now, the first one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is going to teach you how to build new habits and how the dynamic or the system works behind the scene, and how you can stack up these small little changes that you make every day to have a compounded result over a longer period of time. So start small, and this is going to compound over a long period of time. Now, the second book is Mindset by Cal Dweck. This is about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So if you're someone who thinks that I can't learn new things or I can't become a programmer or a web developer, this is about having a growth mindset in that everybody can develop their abilities. We all start at different starting points, but you can develop these abilities, your skill, your talent. And this is all the process of learning through repetition, through practice, through consistent effort. You're going to learn. So this is also a very good book if you have that mindset, or if you want to expand your mindset to have or to adapt a growth mindset. It is an awesome book. And the last book is Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal. I just received this book. I'm a huge fan of him. I haven't read this book yet, but I know from a high level what it covers or what it contains. And it is doing the stuff that we need to do, but also making them fun, so we would be more productive in doing them. So this is also a good thing to learn or to have on your side, because at times learning through something challenging or coding or programming can become challenging and hard, and actually having ways to make it more fun can result in you actually doing it over a longer period of time, which is the only thing you need to succeed at this. Now, with this out of the way, let's just get to the tech stack or the exact steps that I would take to become a web developer in 2024. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to start from the front end. So HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are the 3 main things you need to start learning. Now, in each of these sections, there is a small little explanation about what this language is and some resources specifically for that piece of tech we're talking about. Now, the HTML is the structure of any web page: headings, paragraphs, links, images. These tags are how you're defining your pages inside a browser. Now, resources to learn this, again, MDN is your first resource, and Scrimba has some courses specifically for learning HTML. Back in the days, I took this HTML and Crash course from Kevin Powell. He actually has also a YouTube channel where he talks about CSS, so you can learn a ton of CSS from him, but he does have the HTML and CSS Crash course on the Scrimba, and also other courses that you can take. Some of these courses are free, like this one that I took, but some of the courses require you to become a pro member to take, which is, again, not that expensive, but it is a good platform, and usually the course qualities are very good. Now, the second thing is CSS. CSS is to design your web pages to look nicer. Things like colors, fonts, layouts, and animations. Again, resources is MDN and Scrimba. The courses are there. You can take it. Now, the first programming language that we're going to learn, because these are not really programming languages, these are markup languages, and CSS is just for styling. JavaScript is the first programming language we're going to learn. And this is what we're going to use to add interactivity to our web pages. This is the magic behind the dynamic behavior of our web pages. Now, for resources, again, MDN is going to be the first one. If you like reading through text, Learn JavaScript is a course that I took back in the days. It is an interactive course where you would read or learn a concept and then apply it in the code right there. So you can definitely check this out. I enjoyed this course when I was learning JavaScript a lot, so check this out. Scrimba also has JavaScript courses, so you can check that out. If you're into reading books, The Eloquent JavaScript by this book is a very good book if you're learning JavaScript. It has 3 main chapters where it talks about JavaScript, the language. It then talks about JavaScript in the browser, which is interacting with the DOM and with the web page or with the elements of the page. And it also talks about JavaScript in Node.js, so for writing backend servers and APIs. Now, once you learned JavaScript, I think it's a good time for you to learn about Git and GitHub. Git is a version control system, and GitHub is a place for you to store your repositories remote up in the cloud so you can access them. If you're working inside of a team or with a team, everybody can access the same repositories. Again, there's going to be some resources here to learn. The 2 links that I have here is to YouTube videos. The Coding Train is a channel where it has a Git and GitHub for poets, which is a nice way of actually learning the concepts in Git and working with GitHub for developers. Free Code Camp also has another course, so I've included here. And MDN also has some resources if you, again, like to learn through text. Now, once you learn this, you can move on to React, which is a JavaScript framework or library for building UIs. So let's look at the resources here for React. The first thing that I would recommend is the React documentation. So let me just make this a bit smaller. So on the new react.dev, there is this learn path. And if you follow this, this is the first way that I learned React. So there's a quick start guide where you can take this. There's this tutorial, tic-tac-toe, where you would build this tic-tac-toe game and learn the React concepts throughout this. And this thinking in React, which is going to tell you or teach you the paradigms or the concepts in React or how to think in React. So I would definitely recommend to start from here. This is not like the documentation. This is actually a learning path and a very intuitive way to learn React. Once you've done that, I would also recommend reading this book. Is one of the best programming books that I have had or read. Learning React by Alex Banks and Eve Porcello. This is the best React book that I have read. It is just explains the concepts or the hooks or everything about React in a very easy to understand manner. It actually starts from a chapter which is JavaScript for React developers. So it has a refresher on the JavaScript concepts that you need to know if you want to become a React developer. So once you've gone through JavaScript, you don't need to become a JavaScript expert if you want to become a React developer. You can also read through that chapter to know what concepts in JavaScript actually applies to a React developer. So definitely would recommend this book. Now, Frontend Master is another platform. Their React course is very popular. There is a complete intro to React. There are different versions of it. Make sure you're actually taking the latest version. There is the beginner and also an advanced React course here by Brian Holt. It's a very nice course, and he's very knowledgeable about React. He also has courses about databases or SQL on this platform, so you can definitely check this out if you prefer learning through video courses. Scrimba also has React courses, and in their front-end developer career path, as we just saw before, they do also cover React. So also that is a video-based course if you want to take. Now, UI.dev is another resource. that I haven't taken the courses, but I have seen videos of the creators here on YouTube here and there, and I love their material or the depth of knowledge that they share. So you can also check this out. They do have courses on JavaScript, on TypeScript, on React Core. This is a library that you would use in React or React itself. So definitely check this out as well. Now, once we learned React, before stepping into a React framework like NextJS, the typical path is to also learn how to serve this React application, because at the end of the day, React on its own is going to generate some static pages that you need to serve up using a server. Or if you have an API, if you want to create an API, for example, to fetch some data, talk to your database, you need to have a web server. So it would be a natural transition to also understand about servers. Here I'm talking about, or I recommend Node.js and Express.js as a framework to build servers using JavaScript. Since you have learned JavaScript, we're going to now transfer that knowledge of JavaScript programming language to Node.js runtime that runs in the backend, not inside of a browser. It can run in your own environment to create a server like Express.js. Now, there are newer runtimes and newer frameworks for creating web servers, but Express.js is something that, first of all, you would find a ton of material for to understand web servers or how to simply create one. It may not be the best or the most efficient one. It is one that I learned, or it is one that is used widely across web development, but this is not the only framework to build servers. Now, resources for this, again, MDN. So let me actually open this up. So as you can see here, in this learning path for the web development or server-side website programming, they do also have Django, which is a Python framework, and they have the Express, which is Node.js JavaScript framework. And they teach you the main concepts that you need to know when it comes with the client and server relationships or the web in general, through the eyes of Node.js and Express.js. So you can check that out. Now, there's another book that I also liked, is Web Development with Node and Express.js. This also expands on React or serving up React applications. Again, this is by Ethan Brown. The information is, the detailed information is here if you want to search it up. For books, I don't have links. You have to search them up and buy them from your own resources. But this is also a nice book. Now, Express documentation also has this getting started guides, and I find it very intuitive and simple to learn if you just want to read the docs here. And they do also have guides that teach you different concepts from routing and middlewares in Express, so you can also check that one out. Free Code Camp also has a longer video, 4 to 8 hours video about Express.js, so you're going to learn. You can also check that out if you're interested in a free course or a free video on YouTube. Now, once you learned a little bit about backend, servers, APIs, you can then dive into databases, which goes hand in hand with your backend. Oftentimes, you have your backend server where you connect to your databases to fetch data, and then you would create an API layer so your front-end applications, like your React applications, can talk to and fetch this data. And your servers is a way for you to securely connect to your databases or connect to other platforms and servers. Now, for databases, I have divided them into NoSQL or NoSQL databases like Mongo. This is the first database that I have learned back in the days. They do have a MongoDB for developer learning path that you can just take. This is going to teach you the basics of MongoDB and then CRUD operations in MongoDB, how to connect to your instance, how to create an instance locally or up in the cloud. The other one that I included here is a course about MySQL and Postgres on the Front-End Masters by Brian Holt. Again, if you are into SQL databases, I would recommend Postgres and this course over here. PlanetScale also has an introduction course to MySQL And PlanetScale is also a database platform, so you can also use this. It's a free course, free video course that you can take to learn about MySQL. And down here I have Prisma, which is a type-safe ORM. ORM is a way or a tool for you to connect to your databases. You can use Prisma if you're into TypeScript or type safety, which I'm going to talk about later on. But it will be a single standard API for you to talk to any database on the back. So whether you're connecting to a MongoDB or a SQL database, you can use Prisma with a standard API to talk to any database, and it is type safe, so it's really great. Now, this is again a video course from Brian. He used to be a developer advocate at Prisma. It's a free course and it's a video course you can take at your own convenience, and it's a good resource if you want to learn Prisma. Now, once you are comfortable with your React servers and databases, you can dive into NextJs, which is a React framework for building production-ready applications. Now, NextJS adds on top of React and adds to it what is missing from React. For example, React on its own doesn't have a router, so NextJS comes with a router. Again, React on its own doesn't have any optimizations. NextJS comes with some built-in optimizations, so it makes your app production-ready. And this is the main thing that I live and breathe on the channel here. So you probably have heard me talk about NextJS in the past. And as far as the resources, I do have a course on it. So the Ultimate NextJS course that you can check it out. I've talked about it on the channel previously. And then the NextJS learning path, which is a learning path by the NextJS team or on the NextJS site. So if you go to the nextjs.org, you can go on the learn path. And this is, again, an interactive course. It's not video-based, it's text-based, but it is a very good resource if you want to learn Next.js. It's good to know that Next.js allows you to build a full-stack React application that doesn't require an extra server. You can create API endpoints or server actions inside your Next.js. It has a router, so you don't necessarily require a server for building React or Next.js applications. But this is just so you know, so you have the path if you are interested in also dabbling into the backend servers and Express or that domain as far as finding what you're interested in web development. Now, the last section is TypeScript. Now, you might argue that this can come earlier because TypeScript is important or has become more popular. TypeScript extends JavaScript by adding types to JavaScript. So it is not a different programming language. It's just the same. It's a superset of JavaScript and actually adds types to JavaScript. Now, resources to learn this. There's 2 free TypeScript tutorials by Joe Previtt and Matt Pocock. I think Matt also has a YouTube channel, so you can definitely check these 2 out. The last one is No BS TS by Jack Harrington. He also does have a YouTube channel where he talks about React, TypeScript, and JavaScript and web development. So definitely good sources to check out if you wanted to add TypeScript to your portfolio or to your applications to make your apps more type safe. And that's pretty much all you need to become a web developer or a full stack web developer in 2024. Now, there's a couple of books that I want to share here. It's not necessarily for becoming a web developer. The first one is the Non-Designer Design book. This is actually to learn design concepts. If you're not a designer or you haven't been trained, this talks about fonts, colors, and contrasts and how to make visually interesting UIs. So I love this book, and it has helped me a lot because I don't have a design background, and this helps me with my visual styling and designs. Now, how to solve it is another book that I came across from another YouTuber recently. It's more about problem solving or how to go about problem solving. I haven't read this yet, but I've heard good things about it. So this is something yet you may want to check. The other book here is Clean Code. This is how to write clean code. This is an awesome book to become a better programmer. This is more so the concepts or the techniques that you need to implement to write nicer code. It talks about error handling, modularizing your code and stuff. So this is also a very good book. And this, The Pragmatic Programmer, again, similar to the Clean Code, it talks about concepts that makes you a better programmer a better software developer, not necessarily a web developer or working with JavaScript. It is more so the concepts that is good for you to know when you are creating a software. So that's it for this video, folks. I hope this is useful for you if you are starting your journey of breaking into tech and becoming a web developer, or if you have already done that but you want to take it further, or honing your skills on learning the cutting edge technology and becoming better at what you're doing. If you have any questions, like always, hit me up in the comments. I wish everybody a happy new year, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.